American Idol is doing a sneak peek of Season 8 on ABC, Season 23 overall. Following the Oscars on Sunday night to preview the new season as former American Idol winner, Carrie Underwood joins Lionel Richie and Luke Bryan at the judges' table. The auditions were held in New York, Los Angeles, and Nashville, and in Music City, there was an audition that especially stood out, and Parade has your first look at Idol hopeful Slater Nalley's emotional audition. In a surprising move, when Slater was called into the audition room, it wasn't he who entered first, but rather Mrs. Davis, his high school English teacher. "I am so grateful to be here," she told the judges. "I have a special student of mine, Slater Nalley, and he wrote a song for my son, Carter Davis, 1999 to 2016, who was killed 8 years ago. Slater had heard the story about my son. I had written a poem, and the second year that I taught him, I asked, 'Would you mind looking at the poem? I would love to see what your thoughts are and how you turn a poem into a song.' And so, 2 weeks later, he did, and that's the song he's going to sing today." "You have had the coolest introduction ever," Luke told him. "It seems like you guys have a very special bond, and that's amazing." "Yes, sir. I'm very grateful for her and glad I could offer such a small notion. But I'm glad it helped so much," Slater told Luke. "It is 100% the most deep thing I have ever written," he said. "I didn't know Carter before this happened, and when Miss Davis told us, I just felt this presence come into my life essentially, and I knew I needed to do something. I went home, and I started working away on little notebook pages. Eventually, it turned into a song. She was happy with how it turned out. I am happy to be able to be here and play it, and at least put a little joy in a dark place." As the spotlight begins to shine on the huge stage of American Idol, a new group of talented aspirants is getting ready to put all they have on the line in front of the entire globe. This season, as it always does, promises to deliver unfiltered feelings, vocals that will leave you speechless, and narratives that will pull at your heartstrings. In the sea of competitors, there is one name that stands out among these emerging stars, and that name is Slater Nalley. The trip that Nalley is taking on American Idol is already shaping up to be one of the most unforgettable stories of Season 21. His deep-voiced and tragic past are contributing to this sentiment. A moment of peace before the storm. First things first, let's establish the context before we get into the high-stakes drama that is the audition room. We see Nalley entering the famous audition room of American Idol as the stage lights begin to flare and the cameras begin to roll from the beginning of the show. Lionel Richie, Luke Bryan, and Carrie Underwood are seated in their customary positions, eager to hear what the next contestant has to offer. The environment is pulsating with anticipation, and the judges are ready to hear what the next contestant has to offer. An individual named Slater Nalley, who is 23 years old and hails from a tiny village, possesses the kind of calm intensity that immediately captures your attention. Despite the fact that he walks into the room with an air of calm confidence, his eyes reveal a profound vulnerability. Simply being in the same room with him gives the impression that there is more to his narrative than just a desire to become famous. His resolve to leave his stamp on this platform is tangible, despite the fact that it is obvious that the path that took him to this moment was fraught with difficulties. Carrie, Luke, and Lionel form the panel of judges. American Idol is a competition in which each judge contributes something special to the table. Known for his profound wisdom and leadership, Lionel Richie is a legendary hitmaker who has inspired countless people. An icon in the country music industry, Luke Bryan exudes an infectious energy and has a knowledge of the challenges that are present in the industry. In addition, there is Carrie Underwood, whose rapid climb to fame following her victory in Season 4 continues to serve as an illuminating touchstone for a great number of hopefuls. Despite the fact that all three of them are seasoned professionals, they have never come across a talent quite like Slater Nalley. During the course of Nalley's introduction, it is not difficult to observe the connection that he immediately establishes with the judges. Although his humble demeanor and soft-spoken style are in sharp contrast to the flash and splendor that characterize the American Idol stage. It is precisely this honesty that distinguishes him from the other contestants. Luke Bryan is the first person to comment, and he does it with a kind smile and a head nod which indicates his approbation. "Man, you have something that is truly remarkable." Luke begins by asking, "Tell us a little about yourself," with a voice that is both warm and encouraging. Immediately after Slater takes a deep breath, the floodgates begin to open. The following is a raw and emotional retelling of the struggles that he has encountered, not only as a young guy attempting to carve out a life for himself in the middle of challenging circumstances, but also as an aspiring musician hoping to make a name for himself. He tells, with a voice that is soft but steadfast, how his love for music assisted him in coping with the death of a loved one, and how he has managed to keep his dream alive in spite of the challenges he has faced in his personal life and in his financial situation. When Nalley's story hits close to heart, the crowd goes completely silent. Not only are the judges hearing a voice for the first time in what seems like an eternity, but they are also hearing the voice of a young man who has endured suffering and is transforming it into something beautiful. The expression on Lionel Richie's face changes, and his eyes start to sparkle with comprehension. Doesn't music have the ability to affect one's soul in some way? That is what Lionel says, his voice dripping with feeling. "You are present for a specific purpose, Slater. Already, I am able to sense it." This is the moment of truth, Nalley's performance. Slater starts singing after receiving enthusiastic support from the panel of judges. Instantaneously, the air is shifted. The room is filled with his voice, which is both kind and powerful, and it draws the judges and everyone else in the audience into his world completely. A soulful rendition of Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah is performed by him. This is a song that bears an emotional weight, and it is a tune that connects perfectly with the vulnerability that Slater has just shared. Immediately upon hearing the first note, it is evident that Slater is not your typical competitor. The genuineness of his voice is palpable, and each statement is pouring with the emotional depth of his feelings. As he continues to sing, his voice becomes more powerful, culminating in a crescendo that causes everyone in the room to hold their breath. Not only does this performance highlight his technical expertise, but it also demonstrates his capacity to establish a profoundly intimate connection with the people in the audience. The tremendous capacity he possesses to transmit feeling through his singing is undeniable, and it is clear that each note is an extension of his heart. Carrie Underwood, who is known for her excellent professionalism, is clearly impacted by his performance. During the time that she is seeing him sing with such rawness, she wipes away a tear. Following the conclusion of the song, there is a thunderous silence that permeates the entire room. There is a brief pause in the discourse. The impact of what they have just seen is felt by everyone in the room, including the judges, the staff, and even the audience that is outside the room. Judges' reactions to the case. At long last, after what seems like an age, the judges start talking about their reactions. The first person to speak is Luke Bryan, whose eyes continue to sparkle. "What's up, Slater?" It is obvious that Luke is moved by the performance because he comments, "I have chills." It was simply fantastic to hear that. We were taken on a ride by you. Through each and every note, you conveyed a narrative, which is precisely what music is all about. That is just stunning. Following that is Carrie Underwood. Upon rising to her feet, she displays a look that is equal parts amazement and respect. "Your voice, your heart, Slater," she said. "In the sense that you just did, it is extremely uncommon to come across someone who actually puts everything they have into their performance. I felt every word, and I am certain that everyone else in this room did as well. You possess something that is truly remarkable. You must never give up." After a period of deep reflection, Lionel Richie finally breaks his silence and talks. "Slater, you have guided us to a different location. Your soul is what will carry you, but your voice is the gift that you have been given. When it comes to fighting for something you care about, I know what it's like, and you have that passion. Welcome to the American Idol world. At the end of the day, a golden ticket. A decision is reached by the judges unanimously after they had exchanged glances with one another. One of the most coveted golden tickets to Hollywood has been awarded to Slater Nalley. The expression of shock and gratitude that appears on Slater's face when the announcement is delivered is seen. Before breaking into a smile that floods the room with warmth, he takes a moment to gather his thoughts and then breaks out into a smile. After receiving praise from the panel of judges, Slater's adventure on American Idol appears to have officially begun. The emotional weight of the occasion hits him as he leaves the room, tears in his eyes. He cannot contain his emotions. He has just taken one step closer to achieving his goals, and despite the fact that the path that lies ahead may be lengthy and challenging, Slater Nalley is certain of one thing. He possesses a voice that will continue to reverberate long after the cameras have stopped filming. Take a look ahead, and what is sure to be an uplifting and remarkable trip on American Idol. Slater's emotional audition is just the beginning of what could be an incredible experience. Throughout the course of Season 21, audiences will continue to be able to observe not only his vocal development, but also the compelling narrative that lies behind each and every note that he sings. Based on the results of his audition, it appears that Slater Nalley is well positioned to leave an indelible impression not only on the show, but also on the entire world. The judges have recognized something exceptional in him, and it is very evident that this is but the beginning of an extraordinary journey for this young musician who possesses a great deal of skill. Keep an eye out for further information, for the narrative of Slater Nalley is just getting started, and the best is yet to come.